Seems like a good day to find some violations. Hey, Matt, I know you got enough money for the boat, so I know you got enough money to store it. Let's get it out of the yard, okay? This is a gated community. You know the rules. Hey, Chevy, listen, girl, I know your husband cheated, and I really am praying for you, but you need to get these bushes trimmed. They're an eyesore, girl. Hey, Darlene, when did the privacy fence go up? Well, enjoy it. We got a meeting next week, and that thing's coming down even if I have to rip it out myself. When's the last time y'all mowed? Looks a little bit high. That's a violation. Hey, Diane, you know trash runs on Friday, right? Okay, well, it's been 3 days. I'm just wondering why the cans are still at the street. That's a violation. Hey, Chevy, what's up with the baby blue door? Now, I told you the only blue that's allowed is navy. That's gonna be a violation. Hey, Mary, listen, I know your love life went to shit, okay? But that doesn't mean our neighborhood is, okay? You need to get it together. Cars blocking the sidewalk. That's a violation. If he spent half as much time on them rose bushes as he did on Tinder, he might be able to bring a girl home. Hey, Sean. You're kidding me, right? It's grass above the 3-inch maximum. That's a violation.
Hello everyone, this is Emmanuel Cook. We will be reacting to a new video today, so make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's get into the video.
I'm moving to this house in Makakilo that happens to be in a HOA, or housing, whatever the fuck. Basically insanity people that have control issues, neighborhood. And I was warned by the person I'm taking the house from that the person across the street was absolutely Lolo, and that she constantly calls the HOA for ridiculous things. Like it's a daily thing. Like she's calling the HOA for something on somebody. She's just that person. Like she's bored in her life. I don't know what the hell her problem is. However, I did get a little glimpse of that shit today. Like, cause I don't believe when people tell me shit about people. Like everybody acts different with different people. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take what you said as like a grain of salt, put it on my shoulder, keep it in the back of my mind, but I'm not gonna use that against the person unless they show me a reason to, or like not use it, but you know what I'm saying, use it as judgment. So, but this woman, she makes me question if there should be like something that has to be filled out by the residents that join a HOA or want to be a part of the HOA to make sure that they are mentally sound before they're able to start harassing their neighbors, because this woman is not well. She looks young. She looked athletic. She apparently has a husband, because that dude came out too, but the look on his face as he watched her do what she did was like he didn't fought that battle and decided it ain't worth it. She was sweeping, okay, spotless driveway. And I mean spotless, like as if she had power washed that bitch spotless. Yet for an hour and a half, she used a little hand brush at first and a little dustpan thing and was sweeping every single crack on her driveway. The ones that were naturally formed, ones that weren't naturally formed, the edge between the siding of her house and this, and like, it was insane to watch. Like, it's one thing to sweep. No, it was insane. It was like, there's no other way to explain that shit. Like, there was no other way to, it was like watching somebody water their lawn while it's raining. It was, she's not here. Like, there's something not clicking up here. Yet she, from what I heard from the other neighbors I talked to, and she is the scourge of the HOA. She is reporting everybody for everything, and they're getting fined behind it. But this woman is not mentally sane. Like, so dangerous. But like, when you consider HOAs were created by white supremacists back in the day to keep black people, brown people, and whatever else out of their neighborhoods, it was founded on a crazy premise, and I guess it makes perfect sense that an insane lady is over here ruining people's fucking days and costing them all kinds of money because she's got a mental issue where she can look at a white, pristine, damn near glowing driveway and feel as though she needs to spend an hour and a half sweeping the cracks. Man, check on your friends, because I don't know if everybody's okay, but them HOAs, it makes no sense to be able to have any old body deciding what's happening in your life, especially when they're showing clear signs of insanity.
As many of you know, my husband and I used to own a house in a super intense whack HOA. It's our first spring in our new house that is not in a super crazy HOA, and a memory got unlocked in my brain. My son and I were enjoying a super nice walk today, and it's pretty windy here, and I heard a beautiful wind chime just blowing in the wind. And it reminded me that in our old neighborhood, wind chimes were banned. You could not own one. You could not have one. If you had one out, you would get fined. I think it was $75 a week for owning a wind chime. Like, that was in the rules of the HOA. No wind chimes. Like, what? Why? What did a wind chime ever do to anybody? I think they're pretty. I think they sound nice. Like, what? Why? Makes no sense. That's the hill you're gonna die on. Wind chimes. Okay.
Okay, I've gotten a few Dear Snarky letters about HOA, so then I felt, I have to share my experience as being an HOA president for 2 years. It was not good, people. It was not good. If you're now thinking, I would never live where there's an HOA. Well, we could live in an HOA and send our kids to one of the best school districts in the country. So it was worth living in an HOA, 100%. So if that's your complaint, I would never live where there's an HOA. Yes, you would, because you're going to do what's best for your kids. And if they could go to the best school district, then guess what? You're living in an HOA. So anyhow, I first got conned into joining an HOA when I moved here, and I did their newsletter and stuff, which was fun and no big deal, whatever. And then slowly, no one wanted to be president. So I'm like, oh God, I guess I'll be president. And then the next year, no one wanted to be president. So I did it again. Luckily, you can only do 2 terms, so I was able to get out. I was so excited when my term as HOA president was up. My husband planned a little bit of a party for me. Yeah, and it was much needed. Okay, so here is my big deal about being HOA president. We live in, it's a really low-key HOA. The biggest issue and the biggest eye-opener was that people just don't want to talk to their neighbors. Like, instead of going to your neighbor, hey, your tree's kind of hanging over my fence a little bit. Can we get that trimmed? Instead of having that conversation, they would go to the HOA president. I was the mom of the neighborhood. Y'all, I'm busy enough being the mom of 2 kids and they're grown-ass adults. I don't want to be the mom of the neighborhood. And it was a big neighborhood, like almost 600 homes in said neighborhood. And it was so bad with people like then constantly complaining at me, I would not walk my dogs in my own neighborhood. I would get out of the neighborhood as fast as I could and then take my dogs on their dog walk in another neighborhood. Because people would just stop me all the time, complain. And most of these people are very nice. Love my neighborhood, love my neighbors. But y'all, people like to complain, and I get it, because I also like to complain. But still, enough. Talk to your neighbor. And I live in a part of the country that is in the Midwest, and there's a saying, Midwest nice. Okay, a lot of that is Midwest passive-aggressive. I mean, for the love of all that is holy, talk to your neighbor. Don't ask me, the HOA president, to be the mom and to be the intermediary. Just, you should be able to talk to your neighbor. You see your neighbors every day. Just go, hey, can you fix that? Or how can I help you? But no, instead of that, they would come to me. Y'all, I did not like that at all. People should be able to work out teeny tiny little problems without involving the HOA president. No. And then another thing that got me is that people move into the HOA. You know you're moving into an HOA and there are certain rules. And then they would act aghast and horrified when they were told, hey, you're going to kind of have to follow that HOA rule. It's in the covenants, etc., etc., etc. And then they would do everything to not follow the rules. Fits, whatever, I don't know. It was a lot. But once again, love my neighborhood, love my neighbors, but people just need to work stuff out and not run straight to the HOA president. Are there more stories? Yes. Do I feel comfortable sharing them while I still live in my neighborhood? Absolutely not. But y'all, let's try to work problems out between our neighbors, especially neighbors that you see every single day, and have a little conversation with them instead of running to the HOA president. And I'm also thinking, if I was a man, would they have complained so vigorously to me and expected me to solve their problems? I don't know. Maybe as a woman, they think, oh, she can do it. You know, that's her job. Women do stuff like that. I don't know. Food for thought, most definitely.
Hey, this is a story time about why I hate my HOA. So I purchased a home in 2020 in a, I guess, community that has 2 phases, phase 1, phase 2. Phase 1 is the people, I guess, that was here years before phase 2 came along. But anyways, those are the people that are over the HOA. I never dealt with the HOA, didn't know what to expect. But anyways, my brother comes and visit me. And my brother decides, he has this bright idea, that he wants to take these cones that is out in the street. I guess he didn't think that it belonged to anybody. And I guess he didn't realize that somebody was watching him. So he hops out the car. He takes, I'm not even sure how many cones, these little orange traffic cones. And he proceeds to go to my house. Now, where he messed up at was, first of all, if you're going to do something that you're not supposed to do it when you leaving the place, not when you come in there to stay for a while. So, when he gets to my house, he's confronted by a neighborhood watch person. And, it's just this big old ordeal. So I am contacted by someone else within the HOA. They're asking me, like, how did this happen? Why did your brother decide to steal these cones? Just asking me, do I know what's in this man's mind? And I don't know, because he's a grown man. So long story short, They say, okay, well, it's going to be a penalty for this occurrence. The next day we get an email and they say, okay, it's a $125 fine. Now, let me tell you, my brother took the cones, but during the incident when he was confronted, he gave the cones back. So he never actually left out of our subdivision with the cones in his possession. So he just took them on a little joyride. So I'm like, $125? You gotta be kidding me. So I'm not tripping because I'm not the one that sold the cones. So I told my brother sends me the money to pay, I pay it. But lo and behold, we get an email from the attorney that represents the HOA. And in the email, it says, hey, you have until the end of business day to return the cone or pay the fine. So I said, well, hey, we never took the cone. The cone was returned. Can we get our money back? And this is why I don't like them. They said, no, we cannot get our $125 back. And then they ended up sending an email to the whole entire community about what happened. And then said any incidents like this going forward, any fines will be now $250. And the homeowner has to pay. So, you're responsible for any guests that come to the, premises or property. So, yeah, don't like HOA.
Okay, if you live in an HOA, let me know if you like it, you think it's worth it, it's helpful to you, and it's worth the money. Because in Florida, it's almost impossible to find, to live in a development where there's not an HOA. So we moved from our townhouse, which had a huge HOA of $300 a month, to this house, which also has an HOA, but it's $50 a month. But they literally do nothing here. They don't do shit. And the house across the street from me brings down the whole neighborhood value. I'm sorry. They have their kids' toys sprawled out everywhere, a huge volleyball net, that police caution tape wrapped around trees, for the kids, for these they have 4 boys. And I'm telling you, it's bringing the neighborhood value down. I want to say something to the HOA and be I had to ask to paint my house white when we moved in, but these people can live like slobs. I don't know, it's not worth it.
If you ever sell your place and you have an HOA, they will go to your open house and find things to cite you for. So just letting you know in case you ever list your place for sale, because we were cited for having the IKEA decking on our porch. And the president and his wife went to our open house, and then they actually used our listing pictures in our notice of violation. Just love HOAs.
It is currently 3:41 in the afternoon, so we don't live too far from the bus stop from where my son gets dropped off. And I'm waiting here warming up the car because he gets here about 3:50, somewhere around there. So I don't like to vent about stuff because I find it tacky, but sometimes you just gotta say things, And I've seen a lot of videos with people who have to deal with HOAs, which we do here. Talk about a pain in the butt. So in bad weather, it's me and another parent, and we take our kids to the corner because we kind of live a little bit of ways from the bus stop. And we have this new HOA lady that became president of the HOA maybe a few months ago. And not to go into a lot of detail, but if you have an HOA, then you know that they can be a pain in the ass. And let me tell you something. This lady was testing my gangster because I grew up in Chicago. So I'm used to city life and city ways. And as I got older, I'm like, you know what? For the sake of my son and my grandkids, I'm going to tone it down because we live in a nice area now. We live in Indiana now. So it's different over here. You know what I'm saying? Nobody has that street mentality in life. And we come from there, it definitely changed when you move away, okay? A little bit. But, there's a saying that says you can take the girl out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the girl. So, yeah. But like I said, I grew up, and we have a HOA lady that likes to harass the parents because we wait by the corner. Now, given when the weather's warm and not cold and freezing and ice on the floor and snow, I go walk. Me and my son walk to the bus stop because we got to make sure our kids are safe and get off that bus. To make a long story short, she's been harassing us and saying stuff to us, saying we can't park there, coming up to us, driving up to our cars. We go twice a day, in the morning and the afternoon. So they kind of make complaints and put letters on our thing, and we're like, we're not even here 5 minutes. To make a long story short, we don't give a fuck. We're going to get our kids. You get what I'm saying? And she's on my nerves. So it's hard for me not to be cussing her out because that's not how I want to live anymore. But then she starts moving her hands while you can't be waiting here. She's one of them cracking her neck type of ladies. Well, I'm from the hood, and I don't give a damn who you think you are. You're not gonna talk to me anyway. You're not gonna talk to me like I'm a kid, and you sure as hell ain't gonna talk to me like I'm stupid and I'm supposed to be afraid of you. Okay? Because we're not doing nothing wrong. But tell me why, because I started recording her. So anyway, we had a little disagreement with her in our house, and she came up to our door with another HOA person, and they were saying off the wall stuff, and she called us bitches. So I refuse to speak with her now. Like, if anything she has to say, she got to put it in the letter. And I'm like, she ain't the police, she ain't nobody. You know, you can't be driving up to people, harassing people when they got their kids waiting at the school bus. You know, it's just ridiculous. And it bothers me. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like sometimes people get a little power into them, and then they want to take it too far. No, you're mad because they said they don't really want kids in this area. You know, they're like, they think this is an old retirement area. I feel like if that's what you want, you need to pay to be in those type of communities, because this is an open market here. You can't tell people who can move here and who can't. We don't even have that type of problems. We come a long way from the Chi, you know, because if I was in the Chi and we were in an apartment back in the day, we definitely would have went at it or had a lot of words. I don't give a damn. It reminds me of somebody that tested me when I first moved out here, because, you know, I look like a weta, which means I look like a white girl, but I'm Mexican and white. But, like, I didn't grow up around them. I grew up in the hood. I grew up in Chicago. So people mistake my appearance for weak for some reason until they hear me talk, and that's real talk. But I feel like, you know what, you ain't gonna bully me. You ain't gonna do nothing, because we're not doing nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, they try enforcing all these new rules, but don't be telling nobody. And then they got cameras watching us. It's like, who the fuck are you that I gotta watch and feel nervous coming out of my house because you guys got cameras watching us like we're some type of criminal? Bitch, I'll show you a criminal, okay? Let me call my baby daddy that did 20 years in a Fed joint and bring his ass over here if I was really that petty. You get what I'm saying? But like I said, I don't think so. But that's my rant, and talk to you guys later.
A quick reminder, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's continue the video.
It is time, once again, why I dislike HOAs. This one comes to you via maintenance. So, in my neighborhood, there's a section of lakefront property, of which I have 2 lots. My neighbor, that neighbor's neighbor, that neighbor's 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 neighbors. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lots that make up the lakefront. And out of that, it has been voluntold, because it's not in any writing or anything, that it's the responsibility of the homeowner to handle that. But if you look in the what we call the 64 deed restrictions, which is supposed to be this governing piece of paper for this neighborhood, it's actually the responsibility of whatever governing board is there. So if you're pretending to be an HOA, it would be your responsibility as an HOA to maintain the greenway in front of all these neighborhood houses. But they don't do it. In fact, they've never done it from what I've been here. And it's everybody's individual responsibility. I make up 1,500 feet of the maintenance on the front of this lakefront property. And that's approximately 1/3 of all of the land in front of the lake. So, why I dislike HOAs? You're not even doing what you're supposed to be doing, let alone trying to make this a legit board where you can take money from us again and still make us do your job. That seems kind of crooked, don't you think? I mean, if we're maintaining the front at the cost of, I don't know, a couple $100 to a couple $1,000 a year, you would think they would go, yeah, you're right. You are doing more than everybody else, and that's disproportionately unfair, and that's not allowed, because you can't selectively enforce things, and you can't selectively penalize people for things. I don't think we can selectively make you do the maintenance, can we? Well, can we? That's another reason why I dislike this. But the story goes a little further in depth, because what they maintain, and I'll put a picture here, and what they're supposed to maintain, picture here, and what we actually maintain, picture here. You see the difference? That's a lot of land that they're not doing, but they want to be paid for doing it. Just another reason to dislike homeowners and property owners associations, especially when they're fraudulent.
I'm considering starting Rant of the Week for all new and existing homeowners because there's so many things that have been coming up since I bought my new house. So today's Rant of the Week is called HOA. And yeah, I knew about the HOA, but the amount of restrictions and regulations they have is So annoying. There's a list of plants that I can choose from to plant plants on my own front lawn. Like, why? And actually, my friend told me that his sister's HOA, whatever, said that their curtains need to be white from the back so anyone on the street looking into their house only sees white. Like, what in the Handmaid's Tale is this? Praise be.
I just want to shout out to having good neighbors, because we have been having a problem. I guess I'm the problem because I live in an HOA and it's the devil, and I don't recommend it to anybody. But somebody in our HOA group on Facebook went in on the fact that our HOA has been sending these ridiculous letters and messages to our homes about different things that they're deeming not appropriate. They made me take Frank, my skeleton, off my front porch, and then they also tried to yell at me about my shrubs. Well, somebody went in on them in a Facebook group, and you know I had to comment. And let me just tell you, the neighbors rallied for us. They rallied for us. They rallied for that dude. And it turns out it's just the management company. It's not my actual neighbors. So you know what? We're revolting. I'm here for the uprising. Where's my folding chair?
My family lives in a HOA condo right now. And let me tell you, those people don't do anything. All they do is just increase the amount that we pay every single month without doing their part of the agreement. When it snows, they do not clean the sidewalks. We have to do it. They hardly do their job. And it's crazy. Like, why are we paying all of this money if you guys are not going to do your own jobs? What's the point? It's a scam at that point. We're paying you to not do your job. Make it make sense.
Our HOA is $365 a month. First of all, with the cost of eggs, thanks to the Biden administration for killing all the birds, who can even afford HOA? However, you may be thinking $365, like I've heard worse HOA fees. Okay, we don't have a pool. We don't even have a playground. I barely have trees in my backyard. My yard is the size of a toddler's sandbox, okay? The only thing it covers, basically, is landscaping. So you want to know what I did? I took the matter into my own hands, and I was like, I want to be on the board. I want to be on the HOA board because I want to. Can we at least get dog poop bags and some garbage bins? So this is my official ballot to be on the board of my HOA board. Can we get dog poop bags? Can we get a park bench? There's like a little sidewalk. Can we at least get like 2 park benches so I can sit and stare at, I don't know, the woods, because I live in the middle of nowhere now in New Jersey. Like, nothing. We have nothing.
I know the housing market is trash, but if and when you decide to buy a house, my one piece of advice is do not buy a house in an HOA. That is the biggest mistake that I have made, buying a house in an HOA. I checked my mailbox, and this was in my mailbox from my HOA. So pause to read. Now, this is how the front yard looks now. But before, all that grass was not there. It was just red clay, like red dirt. We put down seeds, I would say, earlier in May or June, but we had to constantly keep watering in order for the grass to grow. And the water bill was so high for like those 2 or 3 months. It was insane how much we had to water it for the grass to grow. Now, this is the side of the house, and you see all that red dirt, and that's how the whole side of the house looks, and the back of the house. And I'm like, it's been 95, upwards to 100 degrees every single day. So it's going to take a lot of watering for us to establish grass on this side of the house and the back of the house. And I'm like, are you going to pay my water bill? Because the water's going to have to keep constantly running, and we both work. So nobody's going to be here to turn it off when it needs to be turned off. This is the back of the house. It's a little bit of grass on the hill, but that was there when I moved in, and it just kept growing doing what it's doing over the past almost 3 years since I've been here. And this is this other side of the house. And this is the gazebo that they were talking about in the pool. We put the pool up for the kids to have something to do over the summer, and we just put the gazebo up. But I'm like, I know we had to get like anything like a patio or fences approved, but I didn't know we had to get gazebos approved. Like, it's just a little tent to have in the backyard. But other houses have gazebos as well. And I'm like, did they have to get theirs approved? Or are you saying it because my house is on a corner, it's a corner lot, and people could see it? But I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's one thing after the other. Like, any small infraction, they send a notice. I'm like, everybody else's yard kind of looks like ours too. Like, are they getting letters too? But like I said, it's been 95 to 100 degrees every single day. And we would have to keep that water constantly going. and it's going to drive up the water bill. And of course, they're not going to pay. So the way this neighborhood works, there's when you come in, there's like a front part of the neighborhood, and we're like toward the back. The front part of the neighborhood gets like lawn service. They have people come and take care of their yard, but we don't get that. But we're both part of the HOA, and so I'm like, do they pay more money than we do, or do we pay the same amount? Because how come they get lawn service and we don't? So it's just been pissing me off. Like I can't take it. It really gets on my nerves, and it's really starting to make me mad. Like somebody got to dismanage this HOA or something, and I don't want to move because I love this house. It's my first house. And I love this house, and like I said, if the housing market being so crazy, everything is high. So I mean, I'm going to stay here, but like it's still just pissing me off how nitpicky they are with every little thing that goes on in this neighborhood. So like I said, word of advice: do not buy your first house or any house in an HOA if you can avoid it.
You know how I hate the HOA? I've come to the conclusion that I hate 84% of the people in the neighborhood as well. Outside the neighborhood, there is a pickup truck parked in the grass doing city work. It's been there for about 4 days. I get an email today. Mass email to everyone in the community. Sorry, everyone, about the pickup truck. I know a bunch of you have been messaging us about why this pickup truck is here. Who fucking cares? It's a pickup truck outside of the neighborhood. What are you emailing the board about? Do you have anything? Do you people have anything better to do than tattletale in a fucking email? And all you people do is complain and fucking cry. And there's a car parked on the side of the road. There's a ball in the grass over there. Someone left a piece of garbage. Shut the fuck up. There are crazy things happening in this world. Shut the fuck up and stop complaining. Please. Please. Oh, man. Yo.
I just had my annual HOA meeting. Why they tell us the HOA is broke? Broke? Talking the Homeowners Association is borrowing money from the builder. Broke. I moved in this house in October, and I'm just I'm guffawed. Is that a word? The right word? I moved in this house in October of 2020 and was paying at the time $190, which was high, but it was supposed to care for my outside. It was supposed to be covering my landscaping, etc. I mulch my own beds because they never deliver straw. They barely weed eat or mow correctly. It's all the time radiating cars. The guy literally just came by 2 days ago and weed eated the bush. I mean, we haven't even we don't have parking spots, and it's a nice community. The pool pump is supposedly broken. So they're basically yeah, we don't have any money. We have had a price increase in HOA every single year since I lived here. And every time we go to vote, we don't have enough people in the community that control it. So they have a vote. So obviously it passes. So we're paying $290 right now, $290. Let me tell you, when you're a first time home buyer at the age of 24, 25, you're not factoring in the fact that it's going to increase that much. So now my monthly expenses have went up, tremendously. The payout hasn't increased. And now I'm finding out we're broke. They were yeah, we don't have any money in the budget. The pool is broke. The contracts are really high because we have a lot of houses and the landscaping and whatever. So we've been borrowing over 30 grand from the homeowner who built the house. And I was I'm sorry, what? You owed how much? I was oh, okay. Again, news to me because the HOAs have only went up since I moved in. So I thought we were pocketing, right? Video in here a few weeks ago about having my good friend's gender reveals up at our clubhouse, which you have to pay to rent, by the way. And you don't have access to it all the time. This community was supposed to be a really nice community. That's why I wanted to live in it. The gym has a treadmill, has one elliptical, and one of those Bowflex machines. It's bigger than my house. Then they start asking they need snitches. They're we're looking for snitches. We want people to call it. There's already an Elite 7 in this neighborhood somewhere who go around being I saw Alan parking on the street. Because they'll tell you for that. And then they're I saw Alan put in a new bush. It's the stupidest crap. Or God forbid your dog craps in someone's yard and you still pick it up. They want to report. So they're we're looking for snitches to join the league to just keep an eye out. What grade are we in? And then here's the kicker. Here is the kicker. They were we want to have, people from your community want to have a Super Bowl party. So we are going to take money and put in a TV in that same clubhouse I rented and cable. I was like, sis, you just said you was broke. Broke can't buy a flat screen and install cable. Am I the only one that's got the HOAs like this? Like, if... I don't know about all that. Like, what?
Oh my gosh, my annoyance level is at like a 15 out of 10 right now, because we get home on like Thursday, and Friday morning I wake up, I walk outside into my beautiful little patio, and there are red spray paint lines all over the flower beds, and I am so pissed. I'm pretty sure it's where they've like flagged the sprinklers or something. Who the F would do this? Let me just show you. Like, look at this. This is not even gonna come off this rock. And they did it in 3 other spots, and they did it on the one over there. Oof. I'm so annoyed.
Oh my fucking God, I hate HOAs. What do you mean if I don't trim the bush outside my house in 10 days because it's not up to your standards, I'm gonna get a fucking fine? You're worried about the wrong kind of bush, lady. Why don't you worry about your bush down there? Why don't you go trim your bush? Zzz, lift up that leg and go zzz, cause you are worried about the wrong bush. Stop worrying about my bush and mind your own fucking business and go trim your own bush. Bzz, bitch.
My top 5 reasons why I believe that my HOA, mine specifically, should be defunded. If you like your HOA and you're like, no, keep the fees coming, you're probably running the HOA and you can't be trusted. Number 1, we don't even have yards. We don't have yards. Am I paying for someone to maintain my gravel patch, my 1x1 gravel patch? Because if so, they're doing a terrible job, because the one and only time that I ever got a singular weed, it sat there for like a month and then I pulled it. I pulled it myself. And you know what? I did such a damn good job that another weed never came back. 2, what are we paying for? Where is the money going? Not landscaping. Although I do see that we have random men with leaf blowers walking around the neighborhood blowing nothing because we don't have trees. They're dirt blowers. What is a leaf blower without leaves? If a leaf falls in the neighborhood, but there is no tree, did a leaf even exist? Why am I paying for leaf blowers? 3, why am I paying for a subscription service to my own house and then not really receiving anything in return? Like, at least with a Hulu subscription, I get shows like The Bear. What am I getting here? Here's a little suggestion in the suggestion box. HOA, put out a gossip column. Give me some like Lady Whistledown level shit, because I see the people whispering. The Ton is talking and I want to know what they're saying, and if any of it's about me. Number 4, you expect me to believe that hundreds of thousands of dollars are going toward what? The singular community event that you put on every year where you get Costco scones? Sorry, I didn't realize that Costco started making their pastries with gold leaf and truffle and caviar, and I have to leave the safety of my own home to go get the scone? No, Carol, you can bring the damn scone to me. As I said before, the A in HOA does not stand for anonymous. Even though it should, especially when you complain about a neighbor, they should not then know which neighbor said that their spotlight in their backyard was too bright and then come over to where I'm apologizing to them. I'm sorry my house is here. This is on me. I actually wish that your light was brighter.
I know I'm not the most qualified person to talk about this, and I'm not the first person to talk about this, but let me just say, like, it is really fucking hard to want to, like, get to know your neighbors or have, like, a feeling of neighbor community on your street, in your neighborhood, when everyone is fucking, like, watching you for HOA violations. My boyfriend and I decided, we wanted to rent a house instead of an apartment because it was within our means, and, we're both out of our 20s almost, and wanting to, see what it would be like to live in a house together, maybe even buy a house in the future together. So maybe we should practice, like, with renting, right? So with that comes the joy of having a yard. And I don't know if other countries or if it's just America, but like HOAs, the homeowners associations, are a thing here, and it's supposed to help with property value, making sure people's houses aren't going down because of that, and like safety for your neighborhood or living area, whatever.
The issue is that we have now been fined $115 because our grass is not perfectly green, like a golf course. And it's never going to be, because we live in Washington State. That grass is not native here, I don't think. It doesn't like to grow. Anyone with a green yard here, it's moss. Like, it's just moss. You need to go look up close. So yeah, we got that fine. I just saw it emailed to me, basically. And I'm like, no, I'm not paying that. And here's why. Because we have been watering every night. We actually, I hate to say this, we fell asleep with our sprinkler on, and it was on all night long one night this week. Grass is, you know, still patchy because it doesn't like to grow here. And we actually have the greenest lawn, like, on our street. Not in the neighborhood, but on our street. All the houses around us, we're all kind of at that same level, you know? We're trying. It's not completely dead, but it's not thriving because it doesn't want to thrive here. And so, yeah, I don't know how you're ever supposed to be, like, friendly with your neighbors and stuff, because now I'm just like, they're watching us and they're probably the ones reporting us. And I'm very aware that it could also be, like, a third-party HOA company that they, like, pay. But it's just ridiculous. Like, it is ridiculous. All the wildfires and all that stuff happening. And, like, we should be conserving water. You know, California never has enough water. They're shipping water, whatever the hell happens for places like that. But instead, you know, meanwhile in Washington, we're fining people for not spending even more water to water our lawns for a specific plant to grow so that our property values don't go down. But also, like, our property values need to go down because no one can afford to buy any fucking thing. I just, it's hard to be an adult today, and it's been, like, a rough day altogether with just dealing with, like, life stuff that I was never prepared for. And I guess today just sucks right now. But also, like, I just don't know the true benefit of an HOA and why we're so obsessed with green grass and why it's still a thing. It's upsetting. Now I'll, like, stop this bitch fest because no one cares.
There is one thing worse than living in an HOA, and that is living in an HOA as a tenant. A couple years when we moved in, the yard was raggedy. There were hibiscus bushes that were pretty much all dead. There was another bush, I don't know what it's called. It's a common shrub here in Florida that I think is absolutely gross and I hate it. And that was almost entirely dead. And so we've cut them down. They've, you know, regrown. They look great. And we're supposed to have the yard or the driveway and the sidewalk pressure washed by March 1st. We were like a few days late on that, and they sent us a violation about treating the lawn for weeds and about the pressure washing, to which we replied with not only the receipt from having the pressure washing done before they actually sent the notice, but a service contract for all of the weeds, because yeah, we're getting a lot of thistle and this other thing, I don't know what it is, but it leaves stickers in my socks, and I really can't stand that. And there's beggar's lice in the backyard that gets stuck in the dogs, and I can't handle that either. At that time, we actually started talking to our landlord and saying, hey, you know, this treatment that they're doing for the lawn, it's going to kill a bunch of weeds, but we're going to have a bunch of dead spots because there's this, like, huge patch of, like, crabgrass and stuff. And we just want to make sure that the HOA is in the loop, that, like, this isn't going to be a problem that is solved overnight. They sent out so many emails. They put in so many calls, and after 3 weeks of no response, they wrote me back and they said, hey, we've emailed them a bunch of times, we've called them a bunch of times, no one will call us back, no one will email us back. So since there's no communication, we consider this issue resolved. So I open up the mailbox today and there is a second violation. And I say, oh, okay, well, we can email this jackass who listed his email at the bottom of this, and also, like, his boss and, you know, our landlord and, you know, God if need be. And so I sat down and I typed out a long email saying, here's the timeline of events, here's what you have asked for in your notice, and here is what we have provided as a solution, and you have chosen not to communicate with us or the landlord. And at the very bottom, I said, what would you like us to do to resolve the issue? Because we are in the middle of a treatment cycle, so we can't put sod down. We can't do anything because we are in the middle of, like,
doing what you asked us to do. I attached receipts, everything. So I got an email back. And he says, "Hi, thank you for reaching out. Can you please show color photos of the front of your property showing that the issue has been resolved?" When I tell you that I lost my mind, I probably could have claimed temporary insanity. So I wrote him back and I said, "Unfortunately, when you don't read your emails and you don't open your attachment, you lack the ability to provide meaningful direction." And I said, "Your violation states treat the lawn for weeds." I responded with an attachment showing that the lawn is currently being treated for weeds. What else would you like us to do? Like, what specifically can we do to satisfy you? And I have not gotten a response yet. Now, this is Century Management. It is a nationwide condo and HOA management company. They're fucking awful. Okay, I know people that have worked there and they are the dumbest human beings I have ever interacted with in my life. So I told my husband if I don't get a response that has any sort of like actual specifics, I'm going to go to the HOA meetings. He's requested that I not do that because his green card might be invalidated if I go to jail. So we'll see.
So I just got a letter from my homeowners association because Brian has been fishing in the pond across the street. And they stated that they will be fining us $1,000 because he has been trespassing in people's yards and fishing in a very delicate ecosystem, which is costing the HOA a lot of money. I'm gonna head out to Costco to kind of get some of this rage out because the level of stupidity of these HOAs across the country is just insane. And my kid doesn't trespass. He has asked every single person by knocking on their door and said, "May I come into your yard to fish in the pond?" He has been respectful. He has been polite. He's fishing. These HOAs are fucking insane.
I appreciate you guys watching the video today. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.